Oh, what was that about?
All right, Coach. First game, just give us your overall thoughts.
Well, we want the atmosphere. I thought the kids did a great job today bringing the noise again, and it's just fun to play in. I think for us, we were a little bit nervous, especially offensively to start, so we needed to go through that, especially with our schedule coming up in a couple weeks where we play. So I think, just starting off a little bit slow on the offensive end, but I just felt our defensive presence was there the entire game, and that's one of the key areas that we talked about all offseason was defensive intensity, being able to get stops, rebounding. We showed up on the rebounding end. They only had 2 offensive rebounds at half, 2 field goals at half. So we wanted to keep that up through the entire game and to keep that intensity up. And nothing to take away from Southeastern Baptist, but I felt like our intensity was there the whole entire game, if we were playing full court or half court.
You touched on it a little bit there, but one of the things that just jumps out, and one of the things that you talked about is upgrading the size on this team a lot bigger this year. I know you're trying to take away what you can from this game, but so far, how have you liked what you've seen on the rebounding department, like you were just touching on, and kind of the size that you have to work with this year? Yeah,
the size and athleticism and the quickness, we definitely keyed in on that during the offseason. You could see the difference. Again, the first 4 or 5 minutes offensively wasn't there, but we got good shots. But I thought defensively we really locked in, and to really limit them to one team offensive rebound until right at the end of the first half, that was key for us, is just to block out, not give them any second chance opportunities. So it's going to be a work in progress. I think that's kind of why we set up the schedule. If I'm being honest, though, I think we're farther along than I thought we would be at this time. When I made the schedule this way, because you wanted some games to get ready. I felt like, 2 weeks ago when we had our scrimmages, we showed a lot in those 2 successful scrimmages that we had. And so it kind of played in today a little bit, the second and third and fourth quarters. But you still have to go out, you've got to perform, you've got to play at a high level, whoever you play, and we did that.
Obviously, you were expecting kind of a game somewhat like this, but what did you like to see as far as differences from last year? Like you said, the intensity was there. You didn't have a lot of turnovers. You also had 22 assists. Is that
so we talked about that, cutting down our turnovers, and we want to be a team that takes care of the ball, but then also be able to give assists and look for the open person. It's just not one-on-one basketball with our team. You use all 5 positions, it's spacing, tempo, and so to be able to do that, I don't know, you saw throughout the game we try to do key moments, especially out of timeouts, where we're trying to execute and run our plays, and I thought we did a really good job of executing, finding the open person, whether we made or missed, but we were able to do that. And that's going to play into in the next couple of weeks.
You talked about the more athleticism on the team. We didn't know it was coming from the freshman.
She plays hard all the time. She plays hard all the time, and she's done that the last couple of weeks. She brings energy, she brings intensity, she's long. I mean, she's getting tips that we didn't get last year. And freshman, sophomore, junior, grad transfer, it doesn't matter. If you're getting those types of tips, I think it picks up her intensity. Key got a little bit of foul trouble early, but she was also a type of player that's so long. I think she had 2 block shots to start. So it's like we've got players now that can close out, block 3-point shots, they can get tips, and that creates fast break opportunities, and we saw that tonight too.
Talking to Mike earlier today, he said you're going to see the biggest difference athletically on defense. Is that what you're seeing?
I think so, and we've talked about it before. I think just keeping our intensity up throughout the game today was important, but you could see our lateral movement was quicker. We're able to, even on one dribbles, we're able to cut them off now, whereas in the past we haven't been able to do that. We've had to play a lot of zone. Sometimes we were hiding 1 or 2 players on the defensive end. We don't have to hide players on defense now. We can lock in, and we can play big, we can play small, we can play quick, athletic. So I think it gives us a lot of opportunity to play different on the defensive end.
Especially at the end of last season. I mean, you were in a lot of 1-score games at the end of the last season, a couple possessions, deciding games. Just how important is having not as many liabilities on the defensive side to be in those games when you get to conference play and you start playing teams that you have to be.
Well, and Asia talked about it too. It's that lock-in mentality. We've been talking about that since day 1 in the spring. They had to make our freshmen coming back had to grow up, and they grew up throughout the season last year. They're playing 30-35 minutes. They don't have to do that now. We've got 1 through 14, and we are deep. I don't see any holes as far as our team, especially after today. I thought everybody did a really good job, but you have to have that lock-in mentality. We were 1 rebound away, 1 defensive possession away, 1 execution away last year so many times. We don't want that this year. We want to be able to play an entire game and not have those, one time maybe to get a win. We don't want to be caught in that position this year.
That's it.
Good.
Okay.
Well,
Real quick, just
Yep.
so we don't have to bug you this week. Coming up on Thursday night, what do you want to see? As far as the difference goes, what are you expecting?
Well, I think just a better start. I think just offensively, I just like to see a better start. I thought we got good shots, but I thought we were nervous, which I think some of it was the crowd, but that's okay. To go through it, I think that's okay. The defensive intensity, the first quarter without fouling. I think we had Key in foul trouble early. She had 3 fouls. I played her regardless of that. Continue to work on defensive rebounding and then our turnovers. I'd like to have less than 8 turnovers on Thursday. So the score to me, like they said too, it doesn't really matter. It's more of our execution on the offensive end and the defensive intensity. I'm sure the kids wanted us to get to 100, but for us, it's not a big deal.
Kind of glad you did with the noise.
Yeah, exactly.
But just going into the schedule, one last question on the schedule. So you set it up to play the 3 non-division ones right off the bat to kind of get some experience and get some things going. Then you jump into a Power 5 back-to-back.
Right.
What do you like about that, and where do you think you actually know about your team?
Well, I think even today, like I said, they're going to weights right now. So we continue to work. Even though we had a game, we're not taking it off now. We're getting right back to work. And I kind of wanted to set that mentality again. We're right back in the weight room. We practice hard on Wednesday. We practice hard Sunday, too, as well. So it's the continuation of what we started last spring. We're going to keep doing that. We've talked about it, too, though, to have these 3 games and then to have kind of a week and a half to prepare for Utah, which will probably be top 15 team by then. It kind of allows us to see these 3 games, get some tape, and now prepare for Utah. We have that week and a half. So use that practice time. Hopefully we've got some practice players coming in 2 weeks, so we've got them as a scout team. That will help us as well. But we've got to be able to pick up our level of intensity and competition, not only in practice, but then when we step on the court against them. Because I know we played 3 top 10 teams last year, but we don't want the repeat of last year. We want to be able to go and compete against those teams and show that we're different and we're ready to play against anybody. Good.